Friday, Jesus died on the cross. At Easter I give up something I really love. We get Easter eggs and lambs. Easter eggs aren't that special, it's just Jesus that's special.
Blowers Green Primary School in Dudley in the West Midlands has a high proportion of children for whom English is a second language and who come from different faith backgrounds. So when it comes to RE, how does the school meet the challenges of teaching about Christianity to children with little or no knowledge of the faith? In this programme we'll see how teacher Becky Taylor approaches the subject of Easter with a mixed Year 1 and reception class, and show progression when she tackles the same subject with the older children in Year 3.
We've got about 20% of British white background, 50% of Asian background, the majority of those from a Pakistani background. We've got 20% Afro-Caribbean. We also have got some asylum seekers, so we've got some children that have come from Kosovo, Afghanistan.
Becky usually teaches a Year 3 class, but this morning she's working with the very little ones in reception and Year 1, introducing the subject of Easter with the aid of the children's book, Dogger.
Who's this?
Dogger.
That's Dogger, isn't it? Yes, well done. I'm hoping that in telling the story of Dogger that I can sort of make a link between Bella giving up her toy to save and help her brother to that of the sacrifice that Jesus made for Christians. Hopefully it will work, and I think it will. And who can tell me something about Dogger? Crystal.
The dogger got lost.
Good girl, Dogger got lost. Dave lost his tail. The story of Dogger is a lovely little story. It's about a little boy called Dave who has a favourite toy and he loses him and he's really upset. Dave and his sister go to a summer fair and Dave spots his toy on a stall and for sale and he can't afford to get it, so he runs to find his sister Bella, and just as they arrive at the store a little girl has bought his favourite toy. Was Dogger still there?
No.
Tia?
The little girl took it.
And Bella does a very kind thing. She asks the girl to swap this old toy which she bought for 5p for Bella's own toy, and it's a big beautiful bear and Bella's left with nothing, but she's not upset. She's happy that her brother is happy.
Bella's teddy.
It's the teddy that Bella won. Well done. Who thinks they can be a character in my story?
Using role play helps the children visualise the sacrifice that Bella has made for her brother.
You three are going to be walking to school, OK? And you're going to have to drop Dogger, OK? To go to school. All search for Dogger. Can you find him?
No.
Right then. How do you think Dave's feeling? Help him with the face pulling because he's got a little bit of a smile on him. You've just lost your favourite toy. How does it make you feel? Look at Dave's face. He looks very upset. So Shauna's got a nice smiley face. She's got her favourite dog.
Can I have Dogger? No. You can have my teddy. Okay.
What does Dave do? Give Bella a big hug and say, thank you. That was lovely. Give them a clap.
With the idea of sacrifice implanted in the children's minds, Becky has asked them to think about something they've given up for others.
Video. I give my sister some sweet money, 2 chocolate biscuits, and she's only little.
So, with the children remembering all kinds of chocolate sacrifices they've made, it's now down to Becky to relate this to the Easter story.
Who put your hand up if you wrote about giving up an Easter egg? Oh, you're right, I've got Chloe's here. That is a beautiful picture of you giving up an Easter egg. Do you know why we have Easter eggs?
Because it's nearly Easter.
Well done. Who knows anything about Easter?
You have some Easter eggs.
You give Easter eggs at Easter time, you're right, well done. Does anybody else know anything special about Easter? About why we give Easter eggs?
Jesus died to help the others.
He did die to help others, didn't he? Well done, Caris. The year one lesson, I think, went well. The children did latch on to the idea of the Easter eggs and the Easter bunnies, but that didn't surprise me because that is their age range of what they are. I was still pleased that they could all tell me that they'd given up something to help someone else. They all could understand how Bella was feeling and relate the story from Dogger to themselves. Shall I tell you something? Why we celebrate Easter? And why we give Easter eggs? And why that Easter bunny comes? Well, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, a very special man called Jesus. So he came into Jerusalem, a place called Jerusalem.
One of the most important things, I think, that we try and encourage the children to understand is this idea of giving, that God actually gave his son for the rest of the world. And if we can share with the children the idea that if they could share and if they could give something that would be precious to them, if they could understand the idea, the concept of giving at the end of a lesson, then I'd be very pleased.
Now that's a little bit hard to understand, isn't it? But everybody who followed Jesus was happy in the end because he gave up his life for everyone else. And in this story, somebody also gave something up to make some people happy. Who was it? It was Bella. Well done. That's why we read that story, to help us understand it, because was Bella sad at the end?
Yeah, no.
She wasn't, was she? And it's the same as when Jesus died. All the people on the earth, they weren't sad either. They were happy. So sometimes you have to give things up to make other people happy. And that is why we celebrate Easter. If it was a mainly Christian school, the children will have had the Easter story from reception every year all the way through. So in a Christian school, where most of the children are Christians, obviously it's tackled in a different way to what our school is. Our school, because it's a new story and it's not reinforced every year, we don't start it until Key Stage 2 in such depth.
So, how does Becky tackle the Easter story to ensure progression with her Year 3 class?
My Year 3 class is my own class, and there's 23 children in there. Quite a few of my children have got English as an additional language, so we do have a lot of support to help them understand the questions. I want you just to make one little note on your whiteboard on what you think the meaning of this story is.
She's decided to use the same children's story to begin this lesson too.
I thought I'd use the same book to motivate the children, to allow them to understand that a sacrifice is given, but it could also be taken further and related to the Bible. Now I've been going round and some of you have come up with some really good ideas. Who would like to read their idea for me? Go on then, Brandon.
She sacrificed it
She sacrificed what?
for Teddy, for Dogger, to give it back to make her brother feel happy.
Excellent. What does sacrifice mean? That's a very big word.
It means when you give away something.
When you give away something, or how else can we say it?
Give up.
Give up. So what message did you get from the story, Sarah?
Sacrificed the things she loved to make her brother happy.
That's nice. Well done, Sarah. What is Easter? I don't know. I don't know what Easter is. Brandon.
It's when new life starts.
Things come to life, yes.
When everything's better in life.
Yeah, you're right, Sabine, well done. We've learnt about Easter. Very briefly, we've talked that it's new life when we get Easter eggs. And we've also talked about sacrifices. Now, that's two completely different things. Can anybody tell me or make a connection between the two? We've gone straight from talking about things that we've given up, like Bella gave up her teddy. Now, why have we talked about sacrifices and then why have we gone to Easter? Can anybody think of a sacrifice that might have been made that Christians believe?
They put a nail on it.
Well done. He said that Jesus was nailed on a cross, but that still doesn't tell me what his sacrifice was.
Jesus sacrificed his body.
His body, yes.
And his life.
And his life. Good girl, Charlotte. And what happened after he sacrificed his life? Can you remember the miracle that happened?
He came back to life. He came back to keep on telling stories.
Good boy, well done. To keep on telling stories, to keep what going?
The Christianity.
Keep Christianity going, well done, excellent. My role as a RE coordinator in this school means that I have to monitor all the planning to ensure continuity throughout the school, because we do have to teach the 6 main religions. I also collect resources and make sure the school's well resourced so each lesson can be taught effectively. Now I'm going to tell you a story now. Right then, this story is called A Dreadful Day. When Jesus and his friends had finished their goodbye meal, they walked to the garden to pray. That's where Jesus' enemies found him. The men had torches and clubs and sticks. They were very frightening.
You have to be very careful with some of the children. You're actually talking about death. And some of the children, for some children, that's quite a hard, difficult concept because they've got no idea. When we talk about Jesus going up into heaven, some children have got, well, did he catch a bus? Did somebody come down in a car? So it is very difficult because of their understanding about him dying and then coming back to life again, because they know that when things die, that generally they don't see them again.
Soon the sky grew dark and the earth shook. It was as if God's own heart was breaking. And then it happened. It's done, Jesus whispered. And in the sadness and the dark, he died. I think a good RE lesson has got to have lots of discussion, and the children have got to feel alive by the subject and ask questions that they wouldn't normally answer. And it's also getting them to discuss and look at artefacts and getting them really enthused about wanting to learn about this different religion. Who can tell me something about this cross then?
It's a cross on when Jesus was in pain.
Well done, Sarah. And anyone to tell me something about this cross?
It's Jesus on the cross, but there's a son behind him, and he looks a lot happier than the other one.
He does look a lot happier, doesn't he?
Jesus came back to life, and he told his friend Peter that to tell his friends to say that he came back alive.
Well done. That's why we celebrate Easter, isn't it? Because Jesus made this big sacrifice for us. And in a way, it was a sacrifice for a victory, wasn't it? Do you know what a victory is? What's a victory, Harvinder?
When you win.
When you win something, well done. So Christians believe that even though he died, it helped the Christian faith to grow and these stories to be told, didn't it?
If at the end of the lesson the children get the idea of giving something up, of somehow understanding that God gave up his son to save the rest of the world, if they can somehow relate in whatever way to that, then that would have been a good lesson.
Easter means to me that when Jesus comes to life.